reason why that is so is because we all know, a lot of us are family men and women. We want the safety of our wives and children is paramount. Mercedes. The reason anybody will buy a Mercedes is luxury. You are looking for luxury. That's the only reason. Right? Yes, you are looking for other things, prestige and so on, but at the mind of the people who buy luxury, who buy Mercedes, the only reason why they buy it, I don't know whether we can short that so that we can have it. Short it, thank you so much. Whether we can short it down so that we can have a sharper view. Thank you very much indeed. Right. BMW. Why will anybody buy a BMW? The people who buy BMW, what are they looking for? What are they buying? Machine. The ultimate driving machine. Toyota, the most popular auto brand in Lagos. I own one, and it's the most. This car is the most reliable car in my house. It is. It is. Of all the cars in my house, this is the most reliable. I have a Toyota Camry. That car is the most reliable car. If it develops a fault on the way, it will take you to where you are going until it shuts down finally. So I always enjoy my ride in the car and I feel safe in it. So the reason why, and it is cheap to maintain. The reason why most of us, well, this is a global phenomenon, economy. But the reason why a lot of Nigerians buy it is because of second-hand value. Honda, if you are dreaming, you buy a Honda. The Honda takes you into space, according to those who make it. The reason we use Zoom, all of us are using Zoom today, is why? Is because of what? Flawless video, clear audio, instant sharing. Right? That's the reason why we use Zoom. Another powerful brand, iPhone. And if I check around, and I'm sure some of you are using an iPhone. When you use this phone, it's different. I've used it before. I used it before COVID. I was planning to travel and say I'll buy it overseas. But COVID shut that plan down. So I bought a Samsung. But the thing about it, I've used it. My experience is just the product. The design of the product is very unique. The reason why people who are what I would call iPhone buffs, the reason why they buy it is because of the design. Uber. Why do we engage the services of Uber? Because it is the smartest way to get around. Why is it the smartest way to get around? You don't need to have cash on you. I wanted to buy it. I was sharing with Chidi just yesterday or 2 days ago. I wanted to buy it. They said I should bring cash. I don't have cash. So imagine getting it. You don't need cash. Just get on board. And it's a jolly ride, AC, nice car. The smartest way to get around. Paper. Why do we use paper? Because of convenience and security. Netflix. You can watch it anywhere and cancel at any time. Not like DSTV. With DSTV, you don't have a choice. If you are going outside Nigeria for 6 months, you have to keep and you have paid for 1 year, they will not deduct their money. They will not have mercy on you. You have to pay. But this one says, watch anywhere. Cancel when? Cancel when? Anytime. So even if you have paid for 1 year, you can still cancel. And they refund your money. It's getting cooler. We are coming to your sector. Why do people engage SAP? Because it is the world's #1 cloud business software company. I have no clue what that is. But you do. You do. You guys are tech buffs. Intel, performance. You notice some of your computers, they'll say what? Intel what? It's a statement of reputation. It's what we call beating the chest. You are beating the chest. Performance. Superior network quality, that's T-Mobile. I think T-Mobile is in, I don't know, is it in Africa here? But I think it's more of a European and American brand. Superior network quality. And they don't joke about that. It's probably one of those networks around the world that when you, it's so clear, it's so loud. At times on, what do you call it, some of our telephone networks in Nigeria, you put it on, you put it even on speaker. You are still struggling to hear whatever the person is saying. HP, innovation, accessibility. I like this brand. I don't know whether you know this company. ARM in Lagos. I guess they are up in some parts of Nigeria as well. This, if you ask me, this is the most powerful value proposition in Nigeria, across all sectors. Give me a reason to buy. Realizing ambition. Whatever it is you want to achieve, we will help you to achieve it. You want to build a house, that's your goal in life. We will help you to achieve it. Your achievement, your goal is that when you retire, you want to retire well. Anything you want, just say it. And that's why I consider it as the most powerful value proposition in Nigeria. I love this young lady. This young lady called, I think, Dr. Ola something. She established this company. It's called the Flying Doctors Nigeria. And what is their value proposition? Saving lives using air ambulances. There is no company in Nigeria that does that. So it's very unique. So what she does is to save lives using ambulances. Right? The question is, what is our own value proposition? Why should the government continue to do business with us? My understanding is that we are even moving from B to G, which is business to government. We are moving from that segment to B to B, which is business to business, and to B to C, which is business to the customer. There is a lot of money to be made in those two sectors, I must tell you. But those two sectors are different from the government. They are. In my experience of working for both sectors, when I was in the advertising industry, we were asked by the Edo State Board of Internal Revenue to the chairman of the board then, who happened to be an Oxford scholar. He's my friend. We were both overseas together. The moment he became chairman, he asked us to come and, create awareness about about the need to pay taxes and the benefits of taxes. And my experience with them was that anything we threw at them, we threw to them, they and working for the government. We gave them a good bill. They took it. No hassles. They didn't debate it. And they paid. It was a jolly ride. And my group managing director called me for a meeting and he said, "Fire, can we go back there again and solve it?" I said, "Oh God, my friend has left. He resigned from the government. He's no longer." It was I think it was a $500 million account. And they paid. Now, when we are talking to the private sector, it is a different conversation altogether. It is a different, it is a different conversation altogether. It's tough. You need to ask the marketing team, that is the sales team, that go out there in my school to bring people in to come and study in my school. They go through hell when they are talking to companies. I'm also a consultant. I speak to clients. And even though with years of experience behind my back, having succeeded in the private sector and now I'm teaching full professor, the kind of queries you get from a client giving you are doing a campaign, you are developing a radio jingle of 30,000 naira. And the kind of queries they pass from an investment bank. It's tough out there, but there's a lot of money to be made. A lot of money to be made. More than what you are making from the government, I can tell you that. A lot of money to be made. But the question is, why should people in the private sector buy from you? Just, I think Monday or Tuesday, we had a conversation in my school. We have this annual retreat, not like this your own posh retreat. Our own retreat is in the classroom. It becomes very easy to remember. I remember way back in the 90s, in the early 90s, and I'm sure it's still like that with Shell. If you walk into any of Shell establishments, the only thing you will see all around Shell is safety first. Safety first. Safety first. Safety first. Safety first. That is what I'm promoting here. We need to have a theme that runs through the two. Otherwise, if we have the corporate value proposition saying one thing and the employee value proposition saying another thing, we will just make a nonsense of it. And it will just become another document sitting on the computer or sitting in the computer. It will not be actionable. It will be difficult to action it. Right? So that's, but we'll talk more about that later. So let's go to the third conversation that we have proposed to have. Now, the third conversation is closely related to corporate value proposition or brand, is closely related to it. Let me put it this way. Most of the time, the brand value proposition is a big statement. It could be like half a page. Right? It could be, in fact, in some companies, the corporate value proposition is like a pamphlet. It's a big statement. However, the brand positioning takes just a leg from the value proposition. It just takes a leg from it. draws it out. It comes from the value proposition. Now, the moment the value proposition is faulty, brand positioning will be faulty. And that's what we see in most organizations. And the reason for that is that usually the relationship between the client and the consultant is usually very, very very, very difficult, most of the time difficult relationships. Because the consultant, who is sitting at the top of the mountain, looking at everything, will advise the client and say, go this way. The client will say, no, that is where I want to go. And at the end of the day, they present a value positioning that is completely different from the value proposition. Let's go. Now, when you say brand positioning, you are simply talking about the position that GBB, please permit me to say GBB. You are talking about the position that GBB occupies in the head of your stakeholders or the customers. I don't know whether what I'm saying makes sense to you. You know, Coca-Cola occupies a particular place in your head, in our heads. They occupy a particular position in our heads. Microsoft occupies a particular position in our heads. Ditto for GBB. So it's simply, positioning is simply the position that GBB occupies in the head of the stakeholders. Let's be a bit, just a bit academic, just a bit, There are channels through which positioning manifests. Here are some of these. Some of you that have done masters or first degrees in business will remember these things. Product, price, place. Am I correct? Yes. The positioning of a company or of a product actually manifests through your products. So if your product is high quality, it is a position in the mind of the customer. The price of your product, the fee that you charge, is a position in the mind of the customer. The advertising campaign, the quality of your advertising campaign, for instance, on digital channels, in digital channels, is also a channel through which the positioning manifests. Will you believe that positioning also manifests through the websites? Yes. Because customers can come to your website and make up their minds about you. Strangely, positioning manifests through your buildings. I have a client, an investment bank, that I'm, one of the major objectives that the CEO told us, the last conversation we had with everybody, was that we are going to have our own building, and it's going to be on Alexander Road in